across the board. Hey, y'all, Dustin here. We are live. This is your Maximize Your Ketones. How do you maximize your journey? I'm very excited about it. This is the most platforms we've ever been on before. So we got Instagram, Facebook, Zoom, TikTok. We're going global, and YouTube. I forgot about YouTube, y'all. So I'm super excited about tonight. We're going to talk about, and I want you to bring the heat. I want you to bring the questions, because at the end of the day, it's about you getting results. I'm going to tell you a little story. First off, I'm going to talk about myself in a second. Hold tight. I'm going to mention some things here in just a couple seconds here. But here's the reality: is that if people don't get better results, if you don't get the results you're looking for, you tend to quit. And if you quit, you're never going to get to where you ultimately want to be. So what I can tell you is that it's usually just little adjustments you have to make. I'm going to tell a story about a call I got earlier. Her name is Summer. Summer, if you're on, give us a little love, give us a little shout out. I met Summer back in September. When I met Summer, she was not in a good place in her health. She was not in a good place where she wanted to go. And she found me on TikTok and she hit me up. And it was interesting is if you meet Summer, Summer's like, she's super ambitious. She's got it, if that makes sense. She has this it factor about herself that's just truly inspiring. But yet at the same time, she had, two amazing children at home, a husband whose health wasn't optimal either. And they were just looking for better. She was on, I think, kind of like disability. She was going through some challenges at the time. And I got a call from her earlier today, and it was just quite remarkable because she put the work in. And was her results a straight line? Did she have like success every single day? No. She called me probably around January, and she's like, I'm not losing weight fast enough. Keep in mind, she made a transformation. If you saw her before and better picture, which I don't have one on here, Summer, I need one. I was looking at your early pictures early on, and you look remarkable. She looked so good. Her life and her body was transforming. And here's the reality: was really interesting about her journey is it's never fast enough. It's never perfect enough. There's always going to be obstacles, but there's always going to be lessons in learning through those obstacles. You just have to be willing to learn. I use this as an example. If 1 million people got a great result for something and you didn't, instead of saying it didn't work for you, say what in me is different than those others and what can I do better? And I know that's not always easy to do. It's sometimes it's easier to say, well, it didn't work for me, so you don't have to figure out maybe what you can get better at. And this is just me from the bottom of my heart, because seeing Summer's story and seeing where she's came in the last 9 months, it's groundbreaking and it's life-changing. And I wouldn't want anybody to come up short of that, because I truly believe this is the path that can change your life. And it is so, so amazing. I'm going to tell you one more story, because we're going to talk about how to maximize this. I want you to bring the heat. I want you to bring the questions you have. We have Australia that just jumped on. What's up, Jenna? Why are you so hyper? I literally just ran back from a baseball game. I was at the hospital with my kids getting injections, coming to a game, and then I'm here. So why am I so hyper? I'm actually really excited. My sister called me, and my sister is one of those people that it took her 8 weeks to get a result. True story. And I heard it for 8 weeks. Oh, it's not working for me. This isn't working. Now, my sister has a past. She has a history. She has some health challenges that she's had to overcome. And my sister called me today, and she goes, "You're not going to believe it." And she was more hyper than I am right now. And she's like, "I just had a colonoscopy done, and the doctor says, my colon is beautiful." And he goes, he's a 70-year-old doctor, so he's seen a lot of colons, right? And he goes, he was so excited. He goes, "I haven't seen anybody in their 50s that looks so healthy and so good." And she just started her journey 5.5 years ago, and she's just been doing it longer.
That's not me.
But I got to meet somebody out here. Hey, Peg. But here's the reality: is that she could have stopped at any time. She could have said it didn't work for her, but she didn't. Even though she didn't work always fast enough, it always wasn't perfect. There was just a lot of lessons that she had to go through and learn. So anyway, that's me kicking this thing off. And I want to answer questions. I want to help everybody get the best experience. And now, whatever journey you're on, you could be full-blown ketogenic diet, which I just met a gentleman, JJ, if you're on, appreciate you, brother, down in Southern California. He's doing the ketogenic diet, and he decided that he wanted support, so he's now starting to drink our product. You could be using ketones. You could be doing a combination of both, or you could be finding and just learning more. Either way, whatever your journey is, just keep moving forward and learning from it, and don't quit. I promise you, it's just little adjustments that will get you to the ultimate goals. So maximizing your journey, this is how I want to start this. For 20 years, I've been coaching. I've been excited about coaching. I'm very passionate about helping people. My wife and I are dedicated to help 1 million people every year to change their life. And it's going to take us time. We're not going to do that the first year or the second year or the 10th year, maybe. Well, maybe by the 10th year. But we're going to keep working and getting better so that we can get to that level. That's no different than your health journey, right? It didn't magically happen in 1 year. It's a process that we have to keep learning through to get better at doing what we love to do. And so JJ, is that you, JJ in the house? So for 20 years, I've been coaching. I've been blessed to work with some of the top minds in the world. I have some people out there that think you can just do this all by diet, and I'm going to challenge them. I'm not going to do it tonight, but I'm going to do a video. I'm going to challenge these hardcore dieters and coaches that don't understand humans. Let's just say the majority of the population. I'm talking to the person that has life happening to them. I'm talking to right now. This is for you. I'm going to coach you who has kids at home. You've had kids and now they're out of the home and you're trying to figure out the future of your life. You're maybe traveling. Maybe you've been in COVID and your career's not where it wants to be. You feel like you have the world on your shoulders. Your sleep hasn't been great in a long time. Maybe you're bickering with your spouse, or maybe you're not on the same page at the moment. Maybe you're the only one in your family doing this and nobody's supporting you right now. Maybe you have some challenges. Maybe you had to go to the doctor like I did today. We had to drive an hour and a half to get our kids shot, drive an hour and a half back to try to get to a baseball game, to try to get to this call. That's happening. The life isn't perfect. I'm going to talk to you all. That's who I want to talk to right now, because the reality is that's most of us. As a coach for many years, I used to think everything was bells and whistles and perfect. Guess what? I had no kids. I lived by myself. Life was simple. It's gotten more complicated now, and it requires more effort and work to put into this. And I want to make this process easy for you, and I want to answer all your questions, okay? So you guys all good with that? All right. So let's get to it, and then I'll ask you guys some more questions. Feel free to share this off. The idea is to bring value and education to as many people as we can and make this simple. If you're starting in this journey, I'm going to give you two paths. You're drinking ketones, or you're trying to do a keto-style diet or a low-carb diet, okay? This is what I want to do. And the reality, it applies to all diets, just so you know. What I'm going to give you applies to every diet. Does the diet work for you? You might have to make adjustments, whatever that looks like. I obviously am a big supporter of drinking ketones because I've helped more people that way, and it seems to work faster and you tend to get better results. What I want you to do in the morning is I want you to get up and I want you to have a big glass of water. And the first thing, what does a big glass of water mean to you, Peg? It could be 4 ounces or it could be 16 ounces. Whatever seems satisfying to you. I don't want you to put a number on it. I want you to listen to you. Ray, Summer's husband, maybe drinks more water than Summer does. You get it? If I say a number, it's really hard. Now, I'm going to make a big push here, and I want you all to listen to this. I want you to write this down. Celtic sea salt. Now, I've been on the bandwagon for Celtic sea salt for a long time. I then kind of got away from it a little bit, and I kind of let it go away. I went back and listened to one of my mentors again, and I don't know why I got away from it. I used to only talk about Celtic sea salt. So here's what I want you to do is Celtic sea salt. You don't have to throw away all your salt right now. If you already have Himalayan or real salt, you can finish with those. If you don't have those salts, I want you to get rid of them and get Celtic sea salt. It's from overseas. The way it's formulated, it's the best sea salt that's out there, and it has a lot more variables to it than people can understand or even realize. And so I want you just to trust them in it. If you need resources, hit me a private message and I'll send you resources. But Celtic sea salt. And what I want you to do in that big glass of water is I want you to put a pinch. I'm not saying a handful. I want you to take a pinch of Celtic sea salt and throw it in your water and have it first thing in the morning. So what I want you to do, first thing in the morning, have a pinch of Celtic sea salt. Now, in 3 years from now, I might tell you a different story, but we're not there yet. We're going to stay with what's worked for so many people. Now, throughout the day, every time you have your water, if you're not using our electrolytes, and Gary V, you just went live and you're interrupting my stuff here, Gary V. If you know Gary V, you just went live also. So if every time you have water, I want you to use a pinch, just a little pinch, just a little sprinkle. You can take a salt shaker, just salt shake it in there. The difference between Celtic sea salt and Himalayan, well, first off, Himalayan sea salt is just overpriced salt. I'm sorry, y'all. It's the way they mine it, where it's coming from. You're not getting the same type of mineral sources as you are from Celtic sea salt. The way Celtic sea salt's mined has a lot more research behind it. The way they purify it, the way it is purified, it's different and it's more balanced. And it's very micro. It's at a very micro level, y'all, and it's very mineral driven. And it's just, I trust it way more, and I trust the sources way more, and I trust who created it and the mission behind why they did it, y'all. Himalayan got marketed high. Not saying it's bad. I'm just saying Celtic is better. If that makes sense. I'm saying the Himalayan is better than maybe iodine salt or regular table salt. Celtic is just better salt. A real salt would probably be my second. Real salt would be my second, and then Himalayan. And here's the deal: it'll save you money because Himalayan just marketed off and then just increase the prices. So I'm off my bandwagon. But just a pinch. You don't even need an eighth of a teaspoon unless you're very prone to having dehydration problems. Okay. So first thing in the morning, I know I rambled on that, but here's the reality, y'all. This is the reality. I'm trying to set you up for success. And just a little pinch. It's for hydration. It's for mineralizations. I think it's more important than people lead on or even understand. And I'm talking about a very high level. People don't quite understand the foundation of that and what's important about that. So that's number one. Number two is you're going to drink your ketones. Okay. You're going to have your ketones in the morning. If you drink coffee, fine, have coffee. You can drink your ketones before or after coffee. Either way, if you're doing a keto diet, you can have your coffee in the morning. Same thing. What you want to do in your coffee is either want to have it black or you want to have a keto-friendly coffee. The only thing I want you to be careful of is I don't want your coffee to be over 200 grams. If you're the average everyday person, meaning if you put butter, MCT oil, or you put our keto cream, which I recommend, it's 160 calories. It's functional fat. It has collagen in it. It's good for your skin, anti-aging. So if you're going to put fat in your coffee, you're going to do that. If you don't want to have coffee, you don't have to. Don't make yourself do something you don't want to do. And then I want you to do, Leslie, about the hypertension component. I want you to Google, if you're worried about sodium in any capacity, hit me a private message. I want you to Google Dr. Brett Scher, S-C-H-E-R from dietdoctor.com and type that in there and he will answer that question for you. And it's quite remarkable, by the way. You're going to love what he's a genius. He's one of my good friends. He's actually an amazing individual, a very good writer, researcher, doctor, cardiologist, awesome guy. But you can look up that answer there and it'll give you some pretty good insight. I think you'll appreciate that. So I'm answering questions as I go through this. You drink your ketones before or after your coffee. Don't mind either way. Just make sure if you have coffee, it's keto friendly, low carb, keto-friendly sweeteners. If you don't know what that is, Google it, look it up. It's really easy to find these days. Keto cream from Prove It is what we're going to use. So if you're not getting that, I'll tell you where to get that later. And then drink your ketones. You're going to want to drink this over about 30 to 45 minutes. Now, there's a funny video going through TikTok right now. They played my video and then they chugged it right after the video and making fun of my video. The reason why is we want the absorption to happen. This product, we don't want it to go through your system really fast. If you have GI looseness, if that happens for you, all I want you to do is use less water and drink it slower, or do a half a pack, use less water and drink it slower, meaning don't do a full shaker bottle. Simple solution. It usually will work to slow down the transit time. Now we get the nuts and bolts. That's your morning. You're going to replace your first meal with this. If you're doing the ketogenic diet, you're going to replace your first meal with your coffee. And all I want you to do is wait till you're hungry to eat. You're going to delay your first meal. Okay. This is everyday person, y'all. Most of you, everyday people, I'm saying you're not like a freak like I was, where you analyze everything you ate every single moment. You worried about that. You exercise 4 times a day and you slept at 9 o'clock. You got up at 6 o'clock. This is for everybody that's not that person, that has life happening. I want you to delay your first meal. You're going to wait till at least 10 a.m., preferably 11, 12, or 1. Between 11 and 1, ideally, I want you to wait till 11 to 12 to 1 to eat your first meal, okay? And here's the deal. I'm going to give you 2 options. One, well, this is going to sound funny. Always eat your let me rephrase that. I'm going to give you a couple of ways to look at this. Your first meal, I want you to make the best choice you can make. If you have 3 choices, make the best one. If you have a pizza, a salad, and a burger, choose the salad with a low-carb dressing. I want you just to make the best choice, okay? That's number 1 option. Number 1 option. Number 2 option, and what seems to be the most pertainable to most people, is take whatever you currently do for your lunch and wait and just make it low carb and more natural, more like good for you. Does that make sense? If you eat a sandwich, take the bread away and wrap it in lettuce. Use the same condiments inside. If you do a burger, take the bun off and do a side salad. If you do chicken, maybe with a steamed vegetables on the side. I want you just to make the best choices that you can make for lunch. Eat as much as you need, stop when you're full. I am a big fan of vegetables, low-carb vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, spinach. I'm of beans and salad greens. Listen, all it seemed to work. So let's go with that. I hope that makes sense. It seemed to work. Between 11 and 1, you have that first meal. Lunch or snack between the meal, 99% of you don't need a snack. Let's be honest. You don't need a snack. I want you to ask yourself, are you bored? Are you bored? Or are you really hungry? I want you to listen to this. Here's the secret. If you're really hungry, there's 2 things that are happening. 1, you didn't eat enough lunch. So be aware you maybe needed to eat more, probably protein for lunch. I'm not telling you to go high fat. Keto dieters, I want you to be okay with going with more fat. I'm okay with fat, I just don't want you to add a lot. People are going to start Googling a ketogenic diet and go, eat as much fat as you want. Be low carb first. Let it be a transition. High fat first is usually not going to work for you. Most people are going to have to go low carb first, and then you can slowly transition into more fat. Hope that makes sense. Now, if you want a snack in the afternoon, there's a couple options. Majority of you should have a second ketones in the afternoon if you really need a snack. Always watch your protein consumption for lunch. If you want to eat a snack and you don't want to have a second serving, and that's up to you, or you're doing a ketogenic diet, olives, avocado, hard-boiled eggs. Those are your high standards. Olives, hard-boiled egg, or what did I say? Olives. Those are kind of your gold standard. What else you can have is a small eighth of a cup of nuts. Nuts should not be a big part of your diet. You can have them, but they shouldn't be a ton of them. Okay. And I'm going to do I did a video on nuts, but maybe I'll send it out again. And then what you're going to do for dinner is do the best low carb option you have, best healthiest option. Now, if you go out to a restaurant and you're going to go out and eat, make the best choice you can and don't beat yourself up, because tomorrow you're going to do it again. Here's the reality is if you try to make this perfect, you're going to fail. If you try to make this perfect, you're going to fail. Do the best you can and commit to the process, commit to the journey. My sister was not perfect every day for the first 8 weeks or the first year or the first 5 years, but she's down 100 pounds of fat and she's living the best life she can live because she didn't beat herself up when she just did the best she could. And she started over the next day and started enjoying new foods and new ideas and new things that she was trying to do, new activities, because she was feeling better. So I'm going to do a quick recap. Water in the morning, Celtic sea salt. Every time you have water, I want you to just take a little pinch. And y'all, a pinch of Celtic sea salt is not a lot of sodium, by the way. It's like micros of sodium. So don't think about that. Salt is not our enemy, y'all, just so you all know. So there's a big salt lie coming soon. Coffee if you want it. Ketones in the morning. Low carb, healthiest lunch. Low carb preferred in midday, 11 to 1. Low carb dinner. Second serving in the afternoon if you'd like. Or you can have a snack if you need it. If not, just enjoy your life. That's as simple as that. No more simple as that. Some of you veterans, you might be playing with the keto at night for sleep. You can play with all those things. But here's the reality. That's how you maximize this. If you commit to that journey, I promise you, it'll change your life forever. Some of you have been doing this a little while. You might be doing our 24 fast, doing a fast with us on Mondays. Awesome. You might be doing the reboot with us. Awesome. Just get started with this simple process, this simple journey, and I promise you it'll keep going further and further and further. So that's me. I'm going to be quiet right now. I'm going to go to questions. I've answered a few already. Come anything you have, come at me with questions. Y'all, if you're new to this, if you're getting learning, if you're a keto dieter and you're like, what do I do? How do I get started? I want to try the keto cream. Get back to whoever invited you this. Whoever invited you on here, get back to them and say, listen, I need to get this product. I want to try it. I want some more coaching. I want to get on the coaching site, drinkketosis.com. I want to be part of the Prove It community, the coaching community, drinkketosis daily group. Get into our community, get into our group, and we'll keep giving you coaching and guide you throughout the process and teach you all the other ways to enhance this journey for you. But whoever invited you, we're a team and we want to support each other. If you don't know how to get back to anybody, hit me. I will help you find whoever you need to get back to or take care of you if you're one of my followers and help you through this journey, y'all. So that's me. I want to answer any questions. I'm going to check everything out here. Yes, Matt, Debbie, my sister, y'all, you know when you help your family, the hardest people to help are the people you care the most about, right? They're always the most complicated. They're always the most biggest pain in your butt. They always make things complex. I mean, it's just unbelievable how hard it is. And watching them just light up and change their lives. I mean, we're doing a family reunion in July and I think every one of them are on keto. Like every one of them are drinking our product and eating better. That's the best gift in the world that we can do that. And I promise you, if I can do that, you can do that. Sherry, you're going to have to check that out with your doctor. She was talking about pregnancy. You got to check with your doctor on that. That's obviously a situation we want to make sure you're safe and you take care of yourself during that phase. So work with your doctor on there and see if they'll work with you or collaborate you on that journey and if it's appropriate for you. Okay. Every bottle of water, a pinch of sea salt. Yes. Just, hey, I'm not going to go down my rabbit hole of water. Y'all, most water's not that good. I'm just going to tell you, most of it's not great. So the reason why I recommend Celtic sea salt is the way the minerals you're getting from it are really awesome. And so I want you to, I'm going to get over here, Dave. I got to get to this chat. So that's going to help enhance and give it some electrolytes. A lot of this alkalinity that people are talking about has to do driven with bicarbonates, has to do with minerals more than this charging of it. And so that's why I recommend that, because most water that people are consuming is actually not super awesome. And so at least it's a little offset and balancing. I'm not a coffee drinker. What other hacks do you have for keto cream in it? my favorite is you can do with tea. Keto cream can go in chai tea really well. And it's really delicious, especially if you just do a little bit of cream with it. Also, we make desserts with keto cream. We cook with it. We make cookies with it. We do a lot of things. I make smoothies with keto cream, and for our kids. I use a lot of things with keto cream, and it's a great enhancement tool. What brand of water do you recommend? Mountain Springs. If you want the best of the best is Mountain Spring water. It's a glass bottle of Mountain Spring water. Then you can go down to maybe Fiji. Arguably, Smart Water is Coca-Cola with its enhanced electrolytes, so maybe it's okay. Evian is probably my second favorite behind Mountain Springs. Bottled water, I probably won't go past those three. Okay, I hope that's okay. What is the best way to get started? Keto Nat, detox first or detox second? So I think the best way to get started in this journey is to drink Keto Nat first. Introduction of ketones, I think, is a better phase than going right to a fast. The 24 fast isn't so bad, but the 60 reboot is kind of hard for people to get started with. It's just a lot of shock to your system. I'm a bigger fan of people gradually transitioning into keto than jumping into it, because your body has to go through some transitions in that. So I'd like to say 5 to 10 days of starting to introduce Keto Nat first, and then you can go into the 24 fast or the 60-hour keto reboot. That's what I'd recommend, Summer. I find that people get the best result, and more importantly, the best journey or experience. Because when you do a fast, your GI tract detoxing all happens kind of rapidly. So what brought a winner? Okay. I have my second Keto Nat at dinner. I find it gets cravings. An hour later, should I have a three? No, if you're getting a second nat, especially if you're a woman, most likely, Carol, if you're having a second one, you're getting cravings, you're not getting enough protein in your day. You're not eating. You need more food. Y'all, Keto Nat in our program here isn't for you not to eat. It's for you to eat better and make sure you're supplying proper nutrients and proteins to your diet. So I'm encouraging real food as much as we can. I hope that makes sense. My female athletes, a lot of my CrossFitting female athletes, they often get hungry after our product. The reason why is they're malnourished. They're working out more and they're not eating high quality enough food for their workouts. So I would say if you're getting cravings and hunger, most likely your protein's too low or your fat's maybe too low and you're not being satiated. And Keto Nat is telling you to eat. It sounds kind of crazy, but it's telling you to eat, which is kind of weird. If the opposite effect's happening, is telling you there's a gap that needs to be filled. For those of you that are beer drinkers, do you have any completely give up? No, that's a great, Miss Cox, alcohol. Let's go, alcohol. I shot a video with alcohol one night. It was actually really fun. I think it's on TikTok. Here's the reality. Beer is tough. There's a lot of low carb beers out there, and I would say move in that direction. If you want to stay low carb beers the way it goes. Now it's going to taste more like water. And if you're a beer fan, then man, you got a problem with that. If you don't like water tasting beer, I don't like beer in general. So if I do my beer, it always tastes like water. But what I would tell beer drinkers is be aware there is wheat in a lot of beers, and to get a low carb wheat free beer is not super easy. So wheat in itself cannot really settle for people. So just be in mind that if beer makes you bloated, that's probably it's a good indicator you shouldn't do it in the first place. But use your low carb beers first off. Second thing is you can use low carb wines. But there's definitely more carb appropriate beer and wine out there, right? They're sweeter and more carb based. So I would just tell you to watch that. But hey, listen, if you're drinking alcohol regularly and you're not getting closer to your results, alcohol will slow down the production of metabolizing body fat. Your body's going to use the alcohol as energy. Second thing is that alcohol slows you down. It's a depressant. Does that make sense? Alcohol slows your system down. So everything in your system doesn't work as fast. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of basic, but it's kind of simple. So if your fat loss is your goal and alcohol is impeding that, you may have to cut it out for a time being, or you have to maybe only have it once a week, or you have to just play with it. Some people can do more or less. What is your favorite keto cocktail? We're going to go down the alcohol rabbit. I'm a tequila fan. So tequila, I do use some of our products in our cocktails. So I use a Keto Nat, like a lime for cocktails, or Maui Punch is one of my favorite cocktails. I like tequila with lime juice. A little bit of sparkling water is awesome for me. And I will do a little splash of like a stevia, a little splash of OJ. I will do a little natural fruit juices. I mean, just a splash typically, very still low carb. I've been doing that since college. It's just something I've naturally done. Vodka, I do a Grey Goose, soda water, lime or lemon, squeeze. I'll do our Mitoplex as a topper, as a sweetener in it. And so I like most of my alcohol beverages to taste more watery than anything else. It's just my style, but that's what I recommend for alcohol. There's keto-friendly wines out there. All right, here we go. I'm just reading. All right, there's a big message in there. I'm not sure I can read all that. All right, somebody that on the message put a huge. Keep in mind, I can read about one line at a time. So if you write more than one line on a question, I'm not going to be able to answer that. So if you have a question, make sure you write it really short so I can track it. How do you? I'm super dyslexic, so 1 or 2 lines, I'm lost if it's past that. How do you feel about coffee with protein shakes in it? I think that's fine. I'm okay. Coffee is coffee. Caffeine and coffee. Coffee actually has natural antioxidants. You get to the anti-aging doctors in the world, they're big on coffee and caffeine. They're huge fans of it. Now, people can get picky about some of those components, but I'm fine with that. You got to look at what's your outcome, what's your goal. I'm more cautious about protein shakes because of where they are maybe manufactured, quality, how many carbs are in them. Do you need that kind of protein? What's the amino acid profile? Is it going to build muscle the proper way? I'm more concerned about all those things than I am about the coffee primarily. So I would just ask the question is like, what quality of protein shakes? What's your goal? Do you need the extra protein? Are you getting enough protein from food, which I primarily recommend? We do have our own Keto Pro, but the way we formulate our protein is very specific, and it's really designed to help metabolize or help develop more muscle tissue without as much processing from the human body, which I'm a big fan of. So protein shakes have been overdone for so long. It's like, are we really getting out of them what we need? So, and there are some really good brands out there, and there's some really not so good brands out there, and not everything's created equal. Let's just say that much. Keto is the best way of life for me. Yeah, that's great. I mean, keto, the truth story is people need to be more keto. This is the reality is most people can't do it diet only. They can't maintain it diet only. And that's a big challenge for them. And so that's a big obstacle for them. And so that's why I'm a big fan of supplementing ketones and helping people find the journey that they're willing to sustain. I no longer follow a strict ketogenic diet. I follow a hybrid because I can just fill the gap with ketones, which I think is more fun, more enjoyable, and longer lasting. And my numbers, my health is absolutely extraordinary. And so many other people that we've taken down this journey. How does our bone broth help work? Can I give it to my dogs? Yes, you can give your bone broth to your dogs. Talk to your vet. No, I'm just kidding. You can use bone broth for your dogs. If I had my dog run, I would be using that continuously. I put my dog on a ketogenic diet when she was 8 years old, when she was my best friend's my vet. And he's like, she's not well. She's not going to make it very long. We tried all those prescribed dog foods. I decided to put my dog on my diet, and she started running, jumping again for the first time, run around. She ran miles with me at that time. And she lived for almost 8 years longer. She almost died right before she was 100-pound female lab. That's unheard of, to have a 100-pound female lab into their 15s. It just doesn't exist. And I truly believe that the diet I used, which was a raw keto style diet for our dog, was the reason she made it so long and so well with vitality. So can you talk about ketone sandwiches? How and when? That's a good one. I'm glad I caught that, Summer. So I just released on the drinkketosis.com site, I just released the new updated protocol. So if you're going through there and have some resource questions, go on there. Remember, this journey is simple. It's not super hard. People overcomplicate it because they want it to be complicated. They think health and wellness is not complicated. Most people don't tolerate carbohydrates very well. Most people should reduce them over time. And not that you have to, but most people should, because we just don't need that much. And most people need elevated ketone levels to maximize their health, longevity, especially their brain. Most people, I'm not saying everybody. I remember I'm talking to the norm, right? There's always extremes. With that said and done, if you're going to have fun, you're going to celebrate, I recommend sandwiching your celebration. Meaning, if you have a date night with your spouse, my Mother's Day is coming up, right? You might have a brunch, have a mimosa. You might have something else, have some fun desserts, whatever that looks like for you. Before you go to brunch, drink ketones on the way to it. What happens is that your brain's slowed down. You're not super craving and hungry and ravishing at lunch. You don't overindulge. Maybe you have a piece of pie. Maybe you have a dessert. Maybe you celebrate a little bit, and you don't overdo it, and you don't feel bad after. And then on the way home, have a second serving. You maybe more than you normally would have. What you do is you sandwich it, because it's not the meal you had that messes you up. It's the rush of sugar and carbs, and then 3-4 hours later, you want to go after it again. I messed up. I'm just going to keep going. And it's 2-3 days later of keep doing that. Let's be honest. Most of you don't have that willpower. I know I have a tendency. If I have pizza one night, I want to have pizza the next night, the next night, the next night, the next night. When you sandwich your ketones, like one before and after, and then the next day have extra ketone. I always recommend having an extra on the next day. What happens is you shut down that desire to keep going for it, and you get yourself back into a rhythm and plan, and then you celebrate that. You feel proud of yourself that you were able to maintain that. I hope that makes sense. And to me, that's a really cool thing. And that new bonus step on drinkketosis.com has just been put up. I talk about that again on there. So go check that out for sure. So I don't think there's many more questions. This is good. This is good. Everybody's doing awesome here. If I missed your question earlier, retype it in, because I have, I think, 9 platforms or 8 platforms I'm going through right now. So I'm looking at all of them, and some of them may got lost. So I apologize if they did. Yo, please get back. Is an energy substitute. And alcohol is an energy substitute, man. Alcohol has, one thing about alcohol people don't realize, it has a lot of calories in it. And they're kind of dead calories, if that makes sense. Like your body, it messes things up a little bit. I'm not against alcohol. I indulged a little bit for Cinco de Mayo yesterday, maybe a little bit more than I'm willing to admit. It was fun. We had a good party, socially distanced though. But here's the reality: is alcohol adds up fast. Ladies? I'm going to talk to you for a second. 2 mistakes I see women make very often is this one. They start getting on keto and they start using fat in their coffee. Well, they're doing the same amount of fat as their husband's maybe doing, or a friend of theirs doing, who is burning 3,500 calories, and this woman's only burning 1,500 calories a day or 1,800 calories a day. Well, if you put 2 tablespoons of fat in your coffee, or 3, you're up to 300, 400, 500 calories in your coffee in the morning. Well, that's a mistake. You just took a third of your calories for breakfast of fat, which is it's keto, but you maybe are trying to drop body fat and you just consume too many calories early in the day. I hope that makes sense. And now you're not able to get the right protein in and feel good and get all the nutrients you want. The second mistake is alcohol. Alcohol on average has 90 calories per serving. If it's a glass of wine, if it's an ounce of alcohol, 90 calories. So 2-3 drinks, you're up to 300-400 calories pretty fast. And let's be honest, nobody does a simple, like, 1 shot. Nobody does a 1 glass. It's always a little extra. Who's with me? It's always a little extra. So you can go out and have a night, but you had a third of your calories for the day in drinks. Well, do you think that can hinder your results, and the fact that it slows down your ability to metabolize fat the way you want it to? So these are just like simple math. Sometimes numbers help people go, wow, that may be why I'm not getting to where I want to go. I'm not against it. I just want people to realize that it may be the thing that's holding them back. Doesn't mean you can't bring it back in, but maybe you have to modify it, lower it, reduce it for a certain amount of time to get your goal, and then find out how much you can add back without gaining it. That's why people stop drinking, they lose 30 pounds. It's just typically a calorie thing for those individuals. So how does bone block work? I got that one. Do you recommend fasting the day after a bad cheat day? That is an awesome question. I'm going to say that again. Do you recommend fasting after a cheat day? I actually recommend it the other way around. I recommend fasting the day before the cheat day. So what I'd recommend, and the reason why I do that is, think of it as a bank. The more you can pull carbs out of your body, and let's rephrase that. We don't call it cheat days. We call it a fun day. It's like cheating is just not a good thing, y'all. I'm just going to be honest. It's a fun day. We're going to go out and have fun. Let's go celebrate. But I recommend fasting before. I actually learned this from Dr. Peter Attia. His wife would make him go out and have fun because he's very strict, right? He's the extreme. His wife's like, no, we're going to have fun. You're going to have cake. You're going to have fun with me. I want it. My wife was like that with me. She's like, we always have to be weird, or can we just go have fun? Like, and not worry about how many carbs are in something. So you fast before and maybe exercise the day before more. And what you did is you're giving yourself, you can actually go have a little bit more carbs, and your body can store some of those carbs, and it's not going to hinder you as much. You're not going to come out of it. So if I do let's say I have pizza and I'm going to have dessert and go out and I'm going to go out and have fun, right? I'm going to go a little bit more strict, low carb, and maybe exercise a couple days before. And basically when I go and I have my fun night, I might have a lot of carbs. I wake up the next day and I'm pretty good in ketosis. Like, my body will store, it'll use some of the carbs as energy, right? I'm pretty metabolically efficient. And so I recommend that first. Okay. Now, the only problem with fasting before a celebration day is that when you fast, you don't usually want to dump a bunch of crap on your body. So that's the only bad thing about it. So maybe you fast and then do a couple low carb days or a low carb day before, and really like go real low carb and maybe exercise the day before. And then when you come out of your fun day, I would recommend drinking ketones, intermittent fasting, and have maybe 1 meal that next day if you want to kind of go to a modified fast, and then you can work back into a fast. That's what, if you want to be perfect, that's what I would recommend. I think you'll get better results, but test it, play around with yourself, go do it both ways. Proactive. That would mean I would have to be proactive. Yeah, I mean, yes, proactive. If you're not going to be proactive, you can go the other way. The problem with fasting, here's the problem with going a bunch of carbohydrates and then fasting, especially if you're not using our product, is that when you have a lot of carbs, you have to now go through that. So you kind of are more prone to going through a kind of a phasing out. And it's kind of dramatic when your body drops of glucose and then you're trying to produce ketones. If you're not super metabolically efficient, that can be kind of stressful for you. If you're drinking ketones, it's way easier. I would just have a keto in the morning, maybe so have like one at 7 and one at like 11, and then prolong that. And if you can go all day, or maybe do a 24 fast with us, then that's going to be okay if you want to be more reactive. What do you think about people? People that are got some health challenges, people that are dealing with doctor stuff. Listen, work with your doctors. I just interviewed one of the top doctors. He's a cardiothoracic surgeon. I gotta say Poveda, and I gotta remember his name. I have to see it. And he, work with your doctor, y'all. This is a great opportunity. It's funny. A lot of doctors that come on board with our community, they're using our product because they need to get healthy themselves. But it's just really important that if you're dealing with stuff, get your team, work with your team. What I mean by your team is your health team, your medical team, your coaches. Be part of our community. Listen to Dr. Andy, listen to Dr. Heather. Go on Wednesday's lives that was yesterday and re-listen to them. The resources on Drink Ketosis has some good information that come from them. And the reason why is that your situation may be more complex. And I want you to understand that you need to be aware of all the dynamics, because typically you're changing your lifestyle, you're eating differently. A lot of things are changing. And I want you to be intelligent through that process. I hope that makes sense. So I hope that answers your question, but I think that's, to me, really important. How does okay, got that one. This line, I think that's TikTok or Instagram. That Instagram just slowed down. I know it's late, y'all, and so I hope that's okay. Can I picture your stocking card? I can picture her like stock counting card. Not sure you said that, but I'm not a fan of counting cards, by the way. I think once a month, for some of you that are really over the top, particular everything you do once a week, the more we count, the more we measure our ketones, the more we count, the more we use the scale, the more that I find that it messes you up. The more that you trust your body, listen to your body, and enjoy the process, the more that you'll have success. Doesn't mean you can't check in, but counting carbs is definitely a recipe for long-term disaster. And if you have any Weight Watcher people, I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've watched more people on Weight Watchers. They're miserable. For nutrition, they're miserable. They're always counting and adding everything up. They're not free. They're prisoners trying to control everything. And the world is too complicated to have that kind of control. So be free. Take your time. Kathy Berry, who's down almost 250 pounds. Be free. Enjoy the journey. Know that you're not going to be perfect. Know that you're going to have carbs more one day and less another day. Enjoy that journey. I promise you it'll be most free. Doesn't mean you can't check in. Doesn't mean you shouldn't weigh yourself every once in a while. Doesn't mean you shouldn't go to your doctor, right? Doesn't mean you shouldn't count your carbs once in a while. Check in to see if you're lying to yourself. Check in to see, I'm low carb. No, you just had 100 carbs every day for the last five days. Oh, I did? I forgot. I didn't realize this. Those are things, are reminders. I like that. I don't like counting every day. I know you can talk about, I know you can't talk about medical stuff, and I won't, but I received, that's great. I'm glad, Honey Dip, that you committed to this journey and that you're working with your doctor. And I think you're a nurse, by the way. Is that correct? I think you're a nurse, which is pretty awesome. Guess what? If you get healthy and you start doing things that are going to help take care of you, you're going to see a lot of positive health changes. And to me, that is why we do this, right? Is for people to live better, be healthier. And I'm not going to get in my soapbox, but I had 2 different health professionals, and they're really cool, smart guys, like really intelligent. I listen to them because I love their knowledge and their wisdom. But then they both made comments that were ignorant. And the ignorance of what they're making is, first off, they don't actually understand. A lot of the people that I listen to work with really fit, healthy people. They're not working with the extreme of the 70% of the population. They're working with the 30, right? And I've been blessed. I get to work with that 30, and I've also worked with a lot of the 70. And there's research out there that shows that there's a good portion of our population that can do the perfect diet, will never get long-term results. But yet they say, the best things come for free. You don't need to drink ketones because you can get them free from just doing a diet. They're ignorant, because the reality is 60% of Americans probably won't ever be successful if they do the diet perfect, if they do what these guys are telling them to do, which people don't do. So I'm like, why would you say that when you don't understand? Now, I like it because they're challenging us, and they get me, and they say that so I can say this to you, is that unless you're perfect every single day of your life and you can follow their regimen perfectly and you have their metabolic system and their discipline and their background as an athlete for most of their life, never gone through health struggles. I got diagnosed with a condition when I was in my 20s. I've been injured multiple times. I've gone through multiple surgeries. I'm going through more this year. Like, I can get down with things not working. Like, I was doing things right and things weren't working. And I drink a product and it made this switch where I could do things I couldn't do before. I had more confidence. I was making better decisions. And I'm like, that's the real world reality here. And that's what we're doing here. So for those haters out there, they're haters. They're just purists. They're strict. They're not talking to 90% of us. They're talking to the 10 crazy people that I used to be, and they're not talking to the rest of us. So I had to do a diet strict for a year before I even kind of broke through my challenges. And I was so committed because it was the only chance I had. It was the only shot I had, but most people just don't do that. So got off my soapbox. I'm sorry. They did hit me yesterday and I was super pumped and I just want to do a video on it. Health and wellness is more important to me. Yeah, I mean, Kathy's down 250 pounds. You're like, health and wellness is more important to me. But there's moments, I guarantee you, Kathy, there was moments where the scale wasn't moving and she got kind of like, I want to change that. Kathy's very competitive too, by the way, so don't let her fool you. But the reality is that's the truth. When you start living your life, you realize your future is whatever you create it to be. So Kathy, I appreciate your journey and your journey is amazing. So I'm just running here, guys. I apologize if this is going late for y'all. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, not just doctors. There's a lot of people uneducated about ketones. Let's be honest. 6 years ago, the word keto didn't exist. Nobody talked about it. When we started Prove It 6 years ago or 5.5 years ago, it was like a foreign language. Like I literally, one of my best friends, I was on the golf course. We just opened, we're golfing. It was like 3 weeks in. I'm making up ketones. And he goes, what are you drinking? I go, ketones, pure therapeutic ketones. He goes, oh, that's horrible for you. That's going to be so bad for you. I'm like, you're ignorant. I literally just, I was golfing with 2 doctors, by the way. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what are you talking about? I go, you're in ketosis right now. He's like, I am not. I go, I guarantee it. I didn't have a blood meter on me, but he went and measured and he was. He just didn't understand the complexity of what we were talking about, if that makes sense. But once he understood it, he realizes he's in ketosis most of the time. He lives a keto style diet. Why? Because I put him on it. Does that make sense? He didn't understand. He saw the extremes that he'd read about or maybe saw in his practice. He didn't understand the day-to-day lives of ketosis, the basics, the foundation, the health, the history of it all. But as soon as we informed them, that changed his mind. Dr. Brett Scher, the guy I told you about, he didn't quite understand it until we educated him on it. Now he talks about it all the time. So it's just the beginning. And that's people, that's trainers. I'm on with trainers all the time that don't understand it. I'm on with nutritionists all the time. The top doctors in the world are all starting to learn this. And now the foundationals are too. And we just have to be patient with them. They just know what they know and they don't know what they don't know. But the funny thing is most doctors, ironically, are the most open-minded people I work with. It's actually the nurses and the trainers, the ones that are kind of in the trenches, they're the ones I actually have the harder time with. So I don't know why that's the case, or maybe it's just for me, but I find that they're actually more open to it if you give them some education. There's so much research out there. If you present it right to them, they'll usually receive it well. So love your fire. Y'all, I'm fired up. I am fired up, y'all. I'm going to get off. I got to go feed my kids are being fed. I need to go feed myself. It's been a late night, crazy day, fun day. I appreciate you. I'm an NP and I'm learning about it. That's awesome. I'm glad. Y'all, I'm telling you, what we're doing is changing the way the world is going to be done. This is changing the things are changing, y'all. And I'm telling you this, you don't need permission to take advantage of your health. Dr. Pavoda, I just said it earlier. He literally said this. I was interviewing him. He said this, and we're going to see him again. If you want to see him speak, he's going to be speaking in 2 weeks. I'll be in Louisville, Kentucky, hosting the largest keto event in the world for 3 nights in a row. It's going to be really cool. But he said this. He goes, you are responsible of your health journey. You're responsible for taking advantage of yourself. You're responsible. He's like, you are. He goes, you are. He goes, your doctor, your nutritionist, your nurses, they're a support to you. Your trainers, they're a support to you. You're in charge of what you put in your mouth. You're in charge of that. You all, doesn't mean you should go blindly or ignorantly. Get these people that you're asking to work with, they are intelligent. They have a lot of knowledge. They may be ignorant to part of it. So provide the information for them and find the ones that are understanding it better so that you can be consulted by the ones that maybe understand your approach that you're using. Does that make sense? Just because they don't know doesn't mean that it's wrong that they don't know. It doesn't mean it's wrong that you do it either. You might have to find somebody that understands your approach that you want to apply instead of saying that person is bad or wrong. You might just maybe working with, it's like if I get a chiropractor that doesn't resonate with me, I go get another chiropractor. Does that make sense? Didn't mean the first one was wrong because my wife likes a completely different adjustment than I like. True story. We don't use the same chiropractors, right? I hope that makes sense? Because we have different feels and different things that we like. I'm so fired up. Yo, get back to whoever invited you. Yes, I got a lot of energy. And East Coasters, thanks for staying up. It's 11:15 for you all. I appreciate you. Australia, Singapore. I know we have people all over the world that are chiming in. Y'all, I appreciate y'all. JJ, dude, if you're on, appreciate you joining our journey. Y'all, get back to whoever invited you. It's important you do that. Work with our team. Whoever invited you to this cares about you. They may not know your answers. They don't want to be your coach. I'm here for that. Hear that. Proven provides the best coaching in the world, the best community in the world, and we're here to support. And so if you have questions, let us answer it for them. Don't let them have to know it all. Well, listen, I've been studying this for my whole life, my whole adult life at least. And so that's why we do what we do, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So get back to where we invite you. Invite people to this. I'll be doing one on Sunday night. I'm going to be doing a big live Sunday night. I'm going to have a lot of energy. I'm going to be really fired up Sunday night. And stay tuned. Next Thursday, we have something special coming for anybody that is wanting to do more with us. If you want to join our team and play a bigger role with what we're doing and are open-minded to some cool stuff, next Thursday night, we're going to do a special Zoom at 9:15, and it's going to be knockout. I have a huge team coming on board. It's going to be fun. So Thursday night, save it in your calendar. You're not going to miss it. So we'll see y'all Sunday, y'all. I'm out. I got to come over here with I think Dave, was that you that asked that question? I didn't know what you said, by the way, because it was so long. I was like, I couldn't read all that. But I'm going to say bye to everybody. Bye, everybody. Bye, world. Bye, Facebook. Cheers, y'all. Brad Knowles, appreciate you, brother. And Broad.